What if the career you plan for yourself isn't actually the one you're meant to have? Today's guest came to the US from Nepal for undergrad. He started in academia, moved into biotech startups, navigated visa pressures, climbed the industry ladder, and then realized he didn't just want to stay in science. He wanted to understand the business behind it. This conversation isn't just about titles or promotions, it's about exposure. It's about financial freedom, it's about choosing industry over academia, and how that decision can completely change your lifestyle. And it's about what international professionals really need to consider when building a career in biotech. Hi, I'm your friend in STEM, Mary, and welcome to When in STEM podcast, where we talk about the real, unfiltered journeys behind careers in science. If you've ever wondered, should I choose a startup or big pharma? Is academia worth the financial trade-off? Or how do I build stability while on a visa? Can I grow in biotech without a PhD? Well, this episode might completely shift how you think about your career. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the episode. Ananda, I'm so excited you're here. Thank you so much for coming to my living room.
Sure.
There's so much we're going to be talking about, from biotech startups to acquisitions to the MBA route to immigration. So many things we're going to be talking about. And so thank you so much for coming on here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
I'm so excited. I'm just going to jump right into it. I know that you come from Nepal. So coming from Nepal and starting your undergrad in the US, how did your identity as an international student shape the way you navigate academic and professional opportunities?
Yeah, definitely. I would like to start off with, hey everyone, my name is Ananda Mishra. I'm from Nepal originally. I came to US 11 years back, I would say.
Wow.
It was 2014. I came as an international student, I did my undergrad bachelor's here from Earlham College in Richmond, Indiana.
Yes.
And I would say it was one of the best time of my life.
Wow.
And then after that, I switched to working professional journey of my life. And I have been working after my graduation. So since 2018. So it's been almost 7.5 years of working professional life. And I have been in academia, I have been in biotech, as well as I would say industry. And yeah, so if we talk about how this whole switch has been, I would like to go back to when I first started and came to the US. I would say, the first thing definitely which everyone experiences is culture shock. And it was definitely there. But I would also say that at Earlham, we had huge international population. So a lot of like international friends, as well as people, the staff members who were there, they were really friendly and made it a bit easier, I would say. And also I was from Nepal, and during the class of 2018 for undergrad, they had 9 or 10 other Nepalese.
Wow.
So it didn't feel that bad.
Yeah.
Although Nepal is very small. And the college I went to had only 11 to 1200 overall students. So having that
Wow.
many people from Nepal was already a huge morale boost.
Yeah, your little community.
Yes,
that's
exactly. So
awesome.
that helped a lot.
Yeah.
But more than that, also, I would say the friends, the people over there, they were really friendly. And all of them were very accommodating. So that helped too. But apart from this, there were a lot of, I would say, challenges as well, which I would say would come from, I didn't have that, like a framework or a mindset that a lot of people who are in the US, they already have. I didn't have backup plans or like, financial backup that came with, having family here. So that kind of like taught me to be more resilient and also not always think that everything is, taken for granted. I was not always in my comfortable state, but that also gave me more adaptability and resilience, I would say. And adaptability and resilience is something that we don't talk a lot about, but it has helped me a lot in my professional career so far. I would say life itself. So a lot of things had changed as I came to the US, but there were a lot of support, and I'm so grateful for all of those support that came through. And I would say that has shaped me to who I am today and what I do right now.
Oh, I love to hear that. I've talked to so many people. I've talked to international people. They've said the culture shock is something like super common with everyone. But the fact that you had like such a supportive environment where when you do have challenges, you're like, okay, I know my support. I know the people around me. I know I could go through this with
Exactly.
all the things that are going on,
Yeah.
which is so nice to hear.
Yeah. And there are places that support that. I would not say every places are
Yeah.
that supportive,
Mhm.
but you have to find it
Yeah.
sometimes. Sometimes, there were times when I was very lost, but I had my friends who I could talk to, or they guided me to the right place to go to. Every colleges in the US, they have, I would say, health staffs, the people who you can talk to if
Mental
you're going
health,
through
yeah.
mental health.
Guidance,
Exactly.
counselors, yeah.
And those concepts were very new to me, to be
Yeah.
very honest, but I would say, open to those things. And there were times when I went for counseling just because I wanted to, and I wanted to see how it feels like.
Yeah.
And it helps a lot. So sometimes you just have to be, embracing things with open arms.
Oh, that's pretty awesome. And so, what did you study in, like in college?
Oh, yeah. So I did my undergrad in biochemistry. And the main reason behind that was I always wanted to go to medical school. And I feel like a lot of folks,
I love that.
a lot of international people, again, I would like to cast us back to, how it is back home. As professionals or as profession, the most cherished professions are doctor, engineers, lawyers, right? So I had that mindset as well when I came to the US.
Yeah.
I was no different, I would say.
Yeah.
And I wanted to go to medical school.
So many people were pre-meds that got into biotech, but for me, coming from Lebanon, it's also the same concept, is that to have a successful career, you have to either be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. It's so funny, like the outside of the US, that's what people think. To have a successful career and be able to live comfortably is you have to be in these different career paths.
Yeah.
And then when you come to the US, you're like, wait a minute, you could be successful doing so many different things.
Exactly.
The opportunities are just like flooding in.
Yeah.
And it's just like, crazy how with one degree you could be doing so much more, and how you can pivot time and time and time again. Because I'm
Exactly.
sure it's the same in Nepal, that like people stay in the same career for like forever.
And they don't have many options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, here you see, like, I've talked to so many people who they're like, yeah, I started here, now I'm here, and I'm gonna end up there.
Exactly.
Or it's just like it's as they say, it's the land of opportunity, and that's why we have biotech, and that's why we're here.
Exactly. And we'll talk more about it today.
Of course. So looking back, what cultural or personal assumptions did you have about science and career that had to shift once you were in the US?
Yeah. If I have to think back, I felt like back in the days when I was in Nepal, science was more of theory, and you just practice those theory because the education system there were not much practical based. So that was one concept for sure. But when I came here, it made more sense that, science is more practical based and it's more fun. You can have fun with science, especially in biotech or startup culture. It can be both challenging, but there is fun aspects to it as well. One other thing that I would say I realized is that the career path with science is not as linear as I thought back in the days. Like you just mentioned, it has all vast opportunities with one degree, and it came here once I came here with my profession and learning more about this profession, I came to realize that it's so much non-linear that you can choose any path that you desire, and you can be navigating, you can be pivoting to your desire and to your choice. And apart from that, also I would say I always felt that science was more data based. And it's just like also that you can only do good in science if you are good at it. But the more I come to realize how biotech world works, it's not about science only, it's also about how the story you sell about the science, because biotech is in some way is a business too. So it's about storytelling. It's about how you sell, I would not say the data, but the concept to the people at the very beginning stage. So there's a bunch of nuances and differences that I would have found. But I would say mostly that what I find is you can do a lot with a career in science and a degree in science for sure.
Completely agree. And so you did your undergrad. Throughout your undergrad, you're like, okay, medical school is not for me.
I was 100% sure that I was going to medical school.
You were? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
At what point did you realize it wasn't for you anymore?
I would say, so I'll tell a bit of story. So right after graduation in 2018, I did apply to medical school for 2 years.
So you did the MCAT and everything?
I did the MCAT. I took the test. It was very strenuous. A lot of it's also financial burden on yourself if you're doing it all by yourself. But I would say it was still fun because it taught me a lot. I had to focus a lot And I would say the MCAT was definitely the hardest part of the whole medical school, pre-med part and journey. And I took the test, and I would say I did not perform as well, and I did not get accepted. So rather than being dejected, I thought of like, what options do I have? And rather than options, I would also say that I was already working in academia and the industry in biotech. And I was already liking what I was doing. So it was not like I would say that I was super dejected and I just wanted to change my career path at that moment. I had already thought about what I would be doing if it was not medical school. And being in biotech helped a lot at that time. But I did MCAT at some time point.
Wow,
And
okay, I did not know that. Whoa.
yeah.
So like, how did you break the news to your parents? Like, were they like support? Because I know sometimes like international parents are like, I
Yes.
know you have to be in what is biotech? It's not a successful career.
Yeah, I would say my parents have always been supportive. Even coming to the US,
Yeah.
it was very fast. It took me less than 4 months to get the visa and get accepted and come
Wow.
to the US. And for me, I just told them that, hey, I'm applying to the US.
Yeah.
And they're like, sure, go ahead. You do what you want to do.
Yeah.
So for me, it was not hard. It was more hard by myself, I would say, to convince myself because you have worked so hard. During my undergrad, I was doing bunch of other activities, extracurricular activities to build that resume so that I could be accepted. But I would also say that being an international and applying for medical school, it just adds extra layer of difficulty for being accepted. And I would say that was probably the main reason. So I was not comparing myself with anybody else. I was just thinking that how can I be better and doing things that I really like. So my parents understood that part. And I told them that, hey, I'm already working in this field of biotech and I'm taking career forward with this. And I would obviously honestly tell you, yes, they were also, they also told me that, okay, that's fine. You didn't, you cannot go to medical school, just do PhD. That's another doctor. Because there is that connotation that you want to become a doctor, which we'll talk later why I didn't choose to go to PhD because I just saw how the industry works and I chose not to go to one, although I had already had acceptances to PhD schools. But yeah, long story short, my parents are very supportive and I would say that they are really happy where I'm right now. And they never question my decisions for career and professional choices.
That's
And I'm
awesome.
so grateful for them.
That's so awesome. That's great to hear. You did say that, so you were already working in academia in biotech. Can you explain what that meant? Like what that means?
Yeah. So I graduated in 2018 and I was applying in 2019 and 2020. I was working during that time. I had worked in academia from 2018, I would say June 2018 to end of 2020.
And when you say academia, was it your college's labs?
No, I came to Boston.
Okay.
And I was working in one of the Harvard labs.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I was working with stem cells. Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of things are going on in stem cells right now. I'm really excited.
Stem cells.
And then I switched to a biotech world. And I would definitely like to really give a shout out to the first manager of mine who gave me that job opportunity because switching from academia to industry, especially as a lab technician, is not that easy, I would say. Yes, you can have masters and go to biotech or have PhD and go to biotech. But with a bachelor's degree, it could be hard at the beginning. But my manager, she was really supportive. She really wanted me on board with some of the skills that I had and also helped me grow throughout my career. So that was early 2020 when I joined biotech. And you usually are applying during that time of like early in the year.
So what was that position that you applied for? Was it research associate?
Yes, that was research associate. That was basically going back to the very entry level positions.
Well, you got to start somewhere, right?
Exactly.
And especially like, unfortunately, like the biotech industry, when they look at your academia background, even if you have a PhD, they'll be like, yeah, but you don't have relevant experience because it's not industry.
Yes.
Which is like, I understand, but at the same time, I'm like, come on, like they do the lab work. Like, I know it's a different environment, but it's still like some experience. But there are some people who are very, very, they're sticklers to the rules. And they're like, if you come from an academia background, it does not equal industry experience.
Yes. Yes.
And so you honestly, you had a great manager. You just want one yes.
Yes,
And that
exactly.
yes just opened all the
Yeah.
doors to where you are today.
Thank you. Yeah.
So you were one of the first 15 to 16 employees
Yes.
at a biotech startup. You saw the inner workings of how a biotech starts from the ground up.
Yes.
What's one lesson about interpreting data, whether it's good or bad, that changed how you approach problem solving?
Yeah, definitely. So I still remember that was February of 2020 when I joined the Biotech.
Yeah.
And I was, I would probably say 15th or 16th employee of the company. And it was a flagship company. So it was in that flagship accelerator space.
In Cambridge?
Yeah, incubator
Kendall,
space,
yeah.
exactly, in Kendall Square of Cambridge. And you get to see so many other incubator startups out there. So that whole arena just gives you a boost. I would say, you have to be on your toes all the time. But yeah, going back, one lesson that I definitely learned about data or in general about startup at that time in my career is that you have to be ready to be very dynamic. And especially in a startup world where there is few less employees, you have to wear multiple hats, which comes with working in different times as well as on different projects and handling all of them together, which also means that you'll be working cross-functionally with a lot of other folks, which might feel like the same team, but they are working on way different like departments if we talk about. And at that time, you come to realize that every data is very crucial, whether good data or bad data. I would say there is nothing called bad, but negative data.
Yeah.
And one thing I definitely realize is that when you are working on something and when you have data, just look at through it a lens of what it tells you rather than, being like, okay, I really worked hard on this. It has to be positive. Or it has to say exactly what your hypothesis was. So be able to learn from whatever the data tells you.
Yeah.
And there are times when you get good data as well as negative data. But just if there is a negative data, you have to think back if your hypothesis was correct or if you need to optimize your assay or if maybe the biology of the whole thing is complex than what you can think of. So these are a few of the things that I did learn during that early stage, being one of the first few employees in the biotech world.
Yeah, and so you mentioned like you worked cross department.
Yes.
And you had that cross department exposure, which opened your eyes to like truly the different departments as a person with a science background where they can like implement their knowledge. So that led to like making you shift your thinking into, oh, there are different opportunities for me. Can you sort of walk us through your thought process with that kind of exposure?
Yes, and I think you got it spot on. That was one of the first, I would say, pivotal moment where I was rethinking about what I exactly want to do career-wise. I would say that happened really quickly in that biotech startup world because within few months itself, I was sharing the data I got with, group of 20, 25 folks, which even included the people who are at VP level. And you get to talk with them. You get to share that space with them. You get to see how they think, as well as you are, like sharing data to the people across departments who could be in toxicology or regulatory folks or operational folks. And you get to see how the focus and the main theme of all these departments differ. Like as a person working in the discovery side, for me, finding new things or doing proof of concept work was priority. Whereas for regulatory folks, the regulatory aspects was more priority. For operation folks, it was the scalability of the work that was priority. And for business development folks, it was how they can, go ahead with the pipeline or manage the finances. The bandwidth was priority. During that time, what I got to see was basically how these all units function together. And for me also, I got exposure to those, I would say, world. And I was really fascinated, I would say, by a few of the departments, especially I would say how business development side works. Because when I see back at that moment, I was still learning. But when I saw people like executive folks or BV folks talking about, okay, we should focus on this part because this is scalable. We have, future funding that we can secure from this side. So I also got to learn that it's not always about science. It's also about how you can scale that science to grander level, as well as how you can secure funding and how you can make sure that, this science will go further. So I, at that moment, thought that I can be a good scientist, but there might be a time when I will not have enough funding if I just want to work on few things, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to be in that commanding position from early on. I don't know
Yeah.
what stick to me,
Yeah.
but maybe the charisma of those people who were,
Mm-hmm.
on the opposite side of the table. So that's why I'd always tell people, like, talk to people. Sometimes you don't know who will influence you. And I would say I was influenced by some of those folks there. And that happened even at my current job at Verb, where I work. There are a lot of people who I really get inspired by. And these are folks who are executive level folks. So that pivotal moment has always stayed with me.
Yeah.
And now it's more solidified that I'm doing part-time MBA as well.
Yeah.
And the sole reason for that is I want to mix, I would say, or like take advantage of my R&D science skills and put it into perspective through the lens of strategy or positioning or scalability. And then, be in the, I would say, business development side and take some drug target from all the way from the very, I would say, infancy state of proof of concept work to see it growing all the way to clinics. And that is my, I would say, at this moment, that is what I professionally aspire to do.
Yeah.
Is to see that all aspects coming true.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, I would want one or two drug product to
Yeah.
be, going to the clinics like
Clinics, yeah.
that.
But as you were saying, there are so many parameters that play to make that drug product
Yeah.
to actually go in the hands of the patient.
Patients.
It's not just, okay, the patient, or it's not just the scientist in the lab.
Exactly.
It's so many moving parts that everyone is so critical, and everyone plays such a big role that it's just, if one is out of tune, it's never gonna happen.
Yeah. And we have seen industries failing.
So many.
So many biotechs.
So many biotechs
Exactly.
just either shut down, never come up, whether it's because of the science or one of those parameters aren't working, or it's because there's so many reasons why.
Exactly.
But that's why biotech is a risky
A business.
business.
Still stable, but still risky, for sure.
Still risky, exactly. So that's why every part that you just talked about, the regulatory, everyone is just so important to make a drug happen. And so I just do want to sort of talk about the startup culture. So people who are listening to this, like, they're like, okay, I hear about biotech startups. What's something about this culture that most newcomers underestimate?
Yeah, I would say that a lot of newcomers or like people who are early in their career, sometimes I feel like a lot of people might still not know exactly what they want to do. So coming to this biotech world, which is very fast paced, those people who are in PhD schools, for them it's about their work and they take it all the way from ground level to whatever scale they can by themselves. But they do it at their pace. Although I would say that yes, they are very hardworking and they work X amount of times more than, normal like 40 hours. But when you come to biotech world, it's very intricate. Everything is interconnected. You have to cross function, which a lot of people are not used to. And it's also very fast paced. So you have to get data and you have to leave your ego aside sometimes with bad data and you have to just hop onto some other things. And sometimes also you will have, I would say, very weird working hours, especially when you are working in the lab. Then you have to give up on your social life too. So these all things together can, I would say, at the very beginning, people are not ready for all of this together. And if it was one thing, maybe they could manage, but a lot of these things come all at once.
Together,
So it's sometimes hard to manage those. But again, I would also say that people are really good at, few of these things. So as long as they build resilience, they have that open mindset that, you know what, it's going to be fast paced and I'll be open to it and I'll be working. Also, they keep their ego aside as a scientist, especially PhD folks who thinks that, or like who has done a lot and they feel like they have that expertise. A lot of things might not work and they have to hear no. Like they have to hear that, you know what, we cannot take this forward. We'll have to keep this short and we are going to work on some other things. So you have to keep that ego aside as well. So those things could be hard. But as long as they are open and they are going to be, like ready to face this fast paced world, it's very much manageable and it will just take few years to get used to it.
Yeah, and I do want to add to something you said is exposure.
Yes.
Expose yourself. A startup culture, that means like the company barely has a lot of employees. So try to put yourselves in rooms and volunteer, like, oh, can I be here? Can I be there?
Yes.
Because that's how you figured out that business and the business side of biotech is something you're interested in.
Yes.
And so, what were the questions or signals you asked yourself to figure out, like, hey, this is something I want to do right now?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And if I reflect back, I don't know exactly what I thought at that moment, but
Yeah.
I always thought about few questions. For me, that mattered was, am I evolving? Am I upskilling every time? Am I doing the things that I want to achieve in the future? Is it getting me closer to that? As well as, am I being honest to myself?
Yeah.
Because believe me or not, not being able to go to medical school was hard. But I was being honest to myself that if that's not the path, I have to figure out something, right?
Yeah.
And I was always in constant questioning and trying to achieve the things that I want to. And I would say everyone should do that, because when you question yourself, you come to realize what things really matters to you. And then after that, it's all about reaching out to the right person. For me, my first manager, I told her like, hey, so I was really in vivo work heavy skilled person. I worked with mice a lot and I was hired, like
Yeah.
mostly to do that work. But when I was negotiating, coming to the work in biotech, I told my manager that, hey, I absolutely love to work, in vivo things, but I would also want to learn in vitro proof of concept work and then scale myself. And she was really nice. She told me at the very beginning that, hey, your work will be very in vivo work intensive, but believe me or not, I'll give you opportunities as it arises. So I asked right questions. I reached out to the right person.
Yeah.
And
You
I
picked the
made,
right
yeah,
manager.
and I picked the right manager, which are really important things. You have to make sure that, the people you are working with, how open they are, how contributing they are, also how helpful they are. You don't want to be at a place where people are micromanaging you
Yeah.
and, telling you exactly what to do. And what, yeah. So telling exactly what you do, talking about that, you also have to know exactly what you want or, move forward upward. You need to learn how to manage up as well. And yeah, that I think that was my mindset at that moment. Just how to be more, upskilling myself and also creating a possibility of stable and secure future for myself. Those were the main things that I was looking for.
Yeah. So for someone that's listening to this and they're like, okay, I want to map out a successful career in biotech today. What's the mindset you'd say is more important than any degree, promotion, or title?
I would not say there is a exact roadmap that anyone can follow, because even if you look at the job descriptions,
Yeah.
it's very fluid. Like they will tell you that you are supposed to do this, and that, but once you go to the job, you have to wear multiple hats.
Yep.
You have to do a lot of things. So there is no exact roadmap, but it's about the mindset. Like I again said, the mindset being that you have to understand that you are going there and you'll be learning as well as you'll be evolving and you will be working with multiple groups. Just make sure that you keep your ego aside and be, asking right question to the right person. And throughout that time, also keep on learning that what is that you really want to do. And there will be a lot of times that you can pivot. Like for myself, uh, going all the way from in vivo work to not even working with mice anymore.
Yeah.
I'm a full like discovery person, and I also uh, have always asked my managers to help me with some of the business development side projects, and they're really open about it. I would say that just being open and with positive mindset and also be able to work some crazy hours sometimes. Although that doesn't happen all the time, but there are days like that that could happen. Yeah, those are the things probably.
So for the people listening right now, what's your current job?
So my role is on the discovery and in vitro proof of concept work all the way to IND and clinical filings. So I do a lot of, I would say, on-target editing, onboard new assays to see what kind of off-targets happen if I'm editing that particular gene, and optimize those assays, and then, prepare reports that could be filed to IND, and then the FDA approves for clinical trials afterwards.
And what's your exact position title?
Yes. So if we will talk about biotech world, I'm a scientist one, but I'm currently employed by Eli Lilly, and the same level positioning for them is a principal scientist title that I have, which is a R3 level in towards the R&D side of it.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
I have a lot of questions of
Yeah.
people are like, "Oh, but with just my degree, if I don't have a PhD, I can never be a scientist. Scientist one, I can never be a principal scientist." And you're here
Yes.
with your education.
Yeah.
What's one thing you would tell them?
I would tell them that's everything that you have heard is a lie. That's
Yeah.
not true at all. It's all about how you function and what you show to the people you work with.
Mhm.
Eventually, yes, your knowledge matters a lot,
Mm.
but you don't need to have a PhD degree to show your potential. I would say as long as you work hard, you make sure that you do things on time and you are setting up right expectations
Yep.
with your manager and
Yeah.
supervisor and as a team as a whole, you will get to the level. I started as an RA,
Mhm.
then I was an senior RA,
Mhm.
then I became associate scientist, and then scientist one almost a year and a half back. So,
Wow.
if anything, by within a year, I should be expecting scientist two. And I have a master's degree in
Mhm.
biotech. So yes, I did master's as
Yeah.
well. I was working as well as doing master's.
Mhm.
That was during 2021 to 2023.
Mhm.
But I would not say that master's degree helped me a lot. It
Yeah.
was just the right people working with the right team and showing my potential to them. So as long as you are able to manage your projects
Mhm.
independently, as long as you are, giving the data, good or
Mhm.
bad data, and able
Mhm.
to analyze it
Yeah.
and practice everything that PhD scientists would,
Mhm.
you're good.
Mm.
And people acknowledge that, especially in startup biotech world,
Yeah.
is acknowledged by a huge higher margin than compared to big pharma. So someone who doesn't have a PhD is just a bachelor's or master's, I would always suggest them to go to startup
Yeah.
biotech
Yeah.
because that will help them leverage and boost their career
Mhm.
way much more faster
Faster. Yeah.
compared to a big
Yeah,
biopharma.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me too,
Hmm.
and so many other colleagues too. They did the same thing.
Yeah.
For people who are international students
Yes.
and they're applying to jobs, but like the international situation is just like, oh,
It's dicey right now.
yeah. So what are some things you considered while you were applying to these different jobs?
Yes, I would consider myself very lucky to be very honest, because back in 2020, I didn't have to face through that. I was on STEM OPT and I had 1.5 year left, and that was enough for me. But the scenario is not the same right now. And from my knowledge, whatever I have seen so far, I would say everyone who are internationals, they need to make sure that they know what are the regulations right now, and they have to take things on their own, take things in their hand by themselves rather than waiting for the company to work to make things happen for
Mm-hmm.
them. And why I say this is because every employment is at will employment.
Mm.
If you think you are irreplaceable and so you are just under denial, that's not the
Yeah,
case. Nobody is.
no one cares about
Yeah,
you,
no.
sadly.
Yeah, I mean they do care about you, but they don't care about you when it comes to the finances and
Mm-hmm.
surviving of the company, which I understand, which I think everyone who works in the industry understand that. But that also means that you have to make sure that you are stable by your own. So I choose those companies which are small and have really good immigration lawyers, and the HR are very reciprocative and friendly of international folks. In big pharma, yes, they have a lot of people, but sometimes you just get lost in the midst of a lot of international folks. But small biotech, when I say small, I would say 100 to 200 people, because people see your potential more there.
Yeah.
And the HR and the managers are more likely to have you. So target those kind of companies and make connections. Talk to the people who are around you, who are going through the same process and who has achieved and made sure that these things are not a problem for them anymore. They will give you right guidance. They will tell you of the companies that are really good with immigration systems. And if nothing works, just see how you can leverage the whole situation by yourself. I think upskilling these days, integrating AI skills or, computational skills to yourself. Take those leverage and advantages and be like, while you are negotiating for jobs, that you bring these things to the table and you'd want them to sponsor you. And some companies are really reciprocative of this. So I would not say there is a definite answer that I still have figured it out.
Yeah.
For me, I have taken things by my own. I am applying all my EV2 processes by myself. I'm not waiting for my company to do that. And thankfully, I'm a Nepalese, so I have much better situation compared to a lot of my other South Asian friends who are from India and China. It's really hard for them, but they have figured it out. So reach out to the right people. Go to those places or like attend those seminars where they talk about, where people share stories. I have learned a lot from a lot of those seminars or like podcasts actually, or follow people like who talk about immigration. I know that I want to in future, I eventually want to my audiences, to my folks, I want to have enough knowledge to talk about these things in the future. So maybe they can start following me from now.
I'll put the link in the
I know,
description. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's all, as you were saying,
Yeah.
like from the start, it's all about talking to people, exposing yourself, have coffee chats with people.
Exactly.
Try to walk the path of someone who's already done it, because
Exactly.
someone went through it.
Yes.
Someone did it, and they could give you the tips and tricks you need to discover it. That's probably why you're listening to this podcast, is you're like, oh, I want to be like him, or I want to learn from him.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about biotech, is everyone's willing to help. Everyone wants to help. So always ask questions. The worst thing they could say is like, hey, no,
Yeah.
really, like, I don't know. It was just pure luck. That way you sort of know where you are
Yes.
in different situations.
Yeah. And you'll be surprised to see how helpful people are. At the beginning, I hesitated sometimes to ask questions, but once I asked them, I have become close to a lot of folks. And I would say the people who are at VP levels, they are really friendly folks. All you have to do is just talk to them.
Yeah.
And I have made some really good connections at my current companies as well as previous companies with the VP folks. And it's really nice to see how they really care about you or like just want to help you.
Wow. Yeah, just ask. You've mentioned that one of the big advantages of moving into industry is financial freedom. And you're very passionate about finances when we talked. Why is this such a driving force for you?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. I feel like finance should be everyone's topic. Everyone
That's how we
should know about finance.
survive.
Exactly. For me personally, when I came to the US, I didn't have that financial safety net. I would not say that my parents could not afford it. For sure they could, but that's why I'm here. I came to the US. But it was for me, I wanted to build things by my own. And I was in academia for a year and a half, a bit more than that. And I didn't have any savings.
Yeah.
It was very hard sometimes to make plans and go out and rethink when I had to spend, I would say, 70, 80 bucks. Because for me, I was thinking it through the lens of I could apply to one extra medical school with that 70, 80 bucks because it's roughly costs around $800 or something like that. So that mindset always gave me perspective. Also, I was very risk averse, mostly in the financial side of it. It gives me perspective that I need to make sure that, I know how to manage my finance and learn how to do things with whatever I make. And I was just honestly like one random day I was talking with, friends of mine who were in biotech, and they told me about how much they make with the same amount of work that we both were doing, all of us were doing. And for me, it was more of like, okay, so apart from more exposure to work and getting to do the things that I really want to do, because in academia, there is always pressure of, oh, there is not much funding, make sure that you stick to these project works. But in industry, yes, you are working on one whole technology, but still there is not much, I would say, constraints of how you can do the same projects. So apart from exposure to wider range of like work and projects, it was also the finance reason for me. And coming from international background, it's always about security, and finance gives you that security. And I wanted to be really, really secured from financial perspective as well. And once I got into biotech, my spending habits were still academia kind of level. And COVID had happened, and 2020, I was in biotech. To be very honest with you, everything just went to my savings account, saving account.
No one's going anywhere.
Yeah, no one is going anywhere. You are just, doing things with your roommates, or if you're living by yourself, you're trying to come up with new ideas to do something to keep yourself afloat. And during that time, it was more of like to me that, okay, I have some money. What should I do with that? I just started looking into podcasts. I started researching how to invest. And that opened a whole new door for me that, okay, you can also learn how to invest while you are also working. It's just passive form of investment, but not many people know about it. And being an international, I didn't know much about it. So
Yeah.
I started talking with people. I started telling my folks, my friends, my group circle, like, hey, do you guys know about 401k? Do you know about this Roth IRA? And do you guys know about do you know what is S&P 500?
Yep.
Not many people knew
Index
about it. So it
funds,
just
yeah.
rolled upon, and within few amount of time, I just realized that I'm really passionate about
Yeah.
finance. And investing is a big part of my life right now. I invest almost 75 to 80% of my savings.
Wow.
And yeah, it just kept on going. And at this moment, I would say I have learned a lot about retirement accounts. I have learned a lot about just investment accounts, about HSA, which I had no idea about.
Yeah.
Or Roth IRA through company, as well as 401k and all these
401k,
things.
yeah.
And I feel like now that with that financial stability, it has given me a lot of security. Like, you stop thinking about what would happen if you spend 2000 on that immigration visa
Yeah.
process that would be required, or hiring a good lawyer who can help you. So it overall, I would say that being financially smart and being financial freedom also affects your
Yeah.
working life, because you are stress free. You don't have to worry about
Yeah.
that $1,000 that you
Yeah.
spent on getting a new car or whatever it is. And that also affects your performance. If you are more free financially, you are able to focus more at work. And I have seen that myself.
And be happier
And be
too.
happier too. So everything is interconnected.
Yeah.
But my journey to financial came through that.
Yeah.
That's when it all started, I would
Yeah,
say.
I love that you said that.
Yeah.
I am a very big finance person too. I've read so many books on how to invest, where to invest.
Yeah.
Because you could be good in science, but you're getting paid to be good at that.
Yes.
Then what? Then what? So biotech, like, you don't know when you're gonna get laid off.
Yeah.
It's a very big high likelihood. I did talk to a recruiter once. He was like, if you work in biotech, you're gonna get laid off at least once in your lifetime. And working in biotech, I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what he said.
One time is okay.
Yeah, once in your life. But that's something like
Yeah.
you should learn of. Like, okay, this is it's like, I feel like it's basic skills for
Yes.
people that they don't teach us, and
Yeah.
then we need to learn.
Yeah.
And so I do highly recommend for everyone listening to this, like, either read a book, listen to a podcast, watch a YouTube video, however you can retain stuff,
Yeah.
do it that way. Because truthfully, like, in biotech, you can make money. You could live a good life. But if you're just like getting paid and spending it, you probably won't have a good life.
Yes.
But if you are using your analytical skills in the science side and using it on where to put your money and how to do it, it will truly, truly help you, as you were saying, financially be comfortable and not have that headache in the back of your head of like, oh, I don't know, like, if I get laid off, like, I need to find a job because I'm gonna, other than put the international situation, I'm just talking finance
general
now.
too, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, like, I don't know, I need to find a job tomorrow, or I won't be able to keep the lights on, kind of thing.
Exactly. And there are a lot of like folks out there that people can follow to get financial advices.
Yeah.
Although I would say, advise with caution that always do your research.
Yeah, of course.
But always, at least even while talking and listening to anybody, you can just come to know of this new stocks, or like just simple passive way of investing, which is the best way, by the way. I would always recommend passive way of investing with the retirement accounts, at least. And like you said, it's really helpful. You can make good amount of, like, salary and through the work at biotech, but you cannot be rich. For you to be rich, you have to invest your money properly and savings properly.
Yep, exactly. And so, say, as you were saying, good paying roles. For someone aiming to maximize their financial upside in biotech, what are some strategies or moves you personally use to guarantee a strong starting salary?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I feel like a lot of folks hesitate,
especially international people,
about negotiation. For international, it's like, should I be grateful that I am already am getting a job and these people are, like, applying for my visa? And a lot of folks thinks like that. I myself had thought like that too in the past. But it turns out you don't have to think that way. Yes, you have to be still grateful, but you can always negotiate a bit. I would say what I have learned from my experience is always negotiate at least 10%. Yeah, a lot of people will tell you the same thing that I'm telling you right now. If they ask you about a range that you are interested in, never give them a range. Ask them what's the range that, to the hiring folks, what's the range that you have set up for this job, and then go on from there. But if you ever have to give a range, let's say if you want it to be at least 100K, start your expectation or the range from 100K. Tell them I want it to be in the range of 100 to 115, because if they say yes, at least you're getting what you really want. So those are my 2 cents, but I would say negotiate, learn how to negotiate. I would also say that make sure that you really focus on what skills you bring to the table and how you are different from someone else. Be it, like you have some that com bio experiences that you have in the past, which will help you leverage some cross-functional adaptability. Or if you're really expert in, I don't know, facts, and then or any kind of immunoassays, you can just say that, hey, the job responsibility requires this, and I have 3 years of experience of this, which makes me feel like that 5K more or something. So always ask, it never hurts, but still be grateful. Yeah, that's just be ready to negotiate, I would say.
And so how did visa considerations influence your career decisions?
Yeah, if I have to think about that, I never thought at the very beginning about visa constraints. I had a biotech degree, biochemistry degree. I cannot just work in an engineering field unless it is bio or chemistry related. I cannot be a software engineer for sure with that degree. So I was always limited towards the research side of it, which involved biology, chemistry, and maybe amalgamation of these two fields. So hence I started with academia. Also at my college level, I'll be very honest with you, I had no idea about biotech. I didn't know there are things and companies like this that exist. Thankfully, I came to Boston where I got exposed to this whole world of biotech, and no other better place than Boston, to be very honest. So, yeah, thank you to that one professor who recommended me a job in one of these labs, and then it was definitely connections at that moment too. So I'll always tell everyone, reach out to your connections. I had to apply to 2 jobs. I got both the jobs, and I was in Boston. So yeah, but that being aside, I had constraints that I was only able to work with bio or chemistry related jobs, but biotech worked, medicine, going to medical field worked. I still had a vast pool of work that I could go into, but sometimes people want to go to some other field and pivot to other field, and I feel like that's where the beauty of doing a master's comes, or doing certification courses come here. But currently I have H1, and my H1B is biotech. I cannot work on anything other than biotech related.
Wow.
And
Even now after your MBA, so your
yes,
MBA, you're doing your MBA right now. It has to only be in like the business side of biotech.
yes, most probably, yes. And I cannot even work on the business side of biotech right now, to be very honest. I'm doing MBA. I can be a student. I can learn anything I want to. But if I want to leverage the MBA side of it, I'll have to go back to F1, OPT or CP, whatever that will be, and then only I can work. So right now, my work is all fully, discovery side of it. I just take on some of the projects that I really want to learn as a side to leverage my skills. It's not in my job description at all, and it doesn't take more than 5 or 10% of my time. So that's how it is. And I'm doing MBA so that I can leverage this in the future. So yes, to everyone listening, sometimes you have to wait. It's not about, getting things right away. I'm doing this for the future. I know there will be a time when I can make this switch, and I will make it then. I'm preparing myself in advance for that. I know sometimes, doing the MBA course and working, that's the best outcome, but I'm limited. So that question just answered itself. There are a lot of constraints that comes with being an international and, also an immigrant. And with H visa, it does come with a lot of constraints. Apart from that, I would also say that, let's say, God forbids, if people are laid off, you only have 60 days of unemployment that you can utilize. Otherwise, you'll have to figure out some other things or go back
to school.
Yeah, or go back home, right? So there are like exit strategies, but these all things matter for international students, and we always keep on thinking this in back of our mind. Well, kudos to all those internationals who are working really hard right now. I can tell you that it takes a very strong will and mind to go through the situation that the industry is struggling right now. A lot of people are being laid off, and it adds a little bit of extra complexity when you are an immigrant and on visa. But there are a lot of resources out there. Have a plan, I would say, to everyone who are going through this situation right now. It will work out at the end. If it doesn't work out, there's always going to be something that was meant to be. So keep it with open mind.
Exactly. So if someone told you 5 years ago that you'd end up a principal scientist at Eli Lilly with a part-time MBA, what would your reaction have been?
I would say you were too naive. No, I'm just kidding. I could have seen that coming.
Yeah.
But I would not have said that the path would be, that I would have figured out this path in this way. It did happen, but I had to go through a lot of work and figuring out and everything.
Yeah.
But one thing I also realized throughout this time is connections matters more than your talent sometimes. Your talent matters for sure. You have to be good at what you do, but that's 50%. You have to make sure that you are finding right people to connect with. You are making right relationships, especially in this current scenario as well. I would say more than 25 to 40% of the work are, like new placements are being done based on connections. And I'm so glad that I have been good at that. And I'm also so grateful to my undergrad school because they taught me, how to communicate better, how to be empathetic, how to, really know a person and form that genuine connections. Liberal arts college teaches you more about life personality rather
Love
than
that.
just, like academics. And that's why I say I would not trade that 4 years for anything. And yeah, so I would say, figuring out it was not easy, but it was not that hard too because, I made some connections that are really helpful and they have always helped me to learn new things as well as, grow up to the places where I have achieved so far. And with science perspective, I would say not everything it's not always merit based, although it is, you have to make connections, you have to know the big picture and also always be open and be looking out for yourself in terms of, like what you exactly want to do. There will be a lot of times that you'll have to pivot. I did not know that I would end up in research, but this is after pivoting once, I would also say two times that I'm here, and I'm really happy that I did this, and I'm enjoying it, and I can already see what I want to do in the future, and I love it. So
And there's more pivoting.
yeah, there's more to come.
Yeah, there's more to come. Exactly. And that's what I love about this field is like you're not stuck in one box.
It's evolving.
It's evolving. You evolve. Your passions evolve. One day you're like, I want to be in the lab forever. And then the next you're like, actually, no, I really like being a project manager. So I want to do that. Or I really like to be in business development or on the marketing side. Yeah. There's so much with a science background that you could do. And you're like, what you're showing it and you're showing us. And you're also showing international people out there like, hey, I get us being on an H-1B visa can be a little bit it can have its own constraints, but our time will come. Your time will come and where you can use it and access it. You just have to prepare and have a plan for it. And I love that message. When you said that, I'm like, wow, that's pretty awesome. Like, I love what you said there. And like, I see so many similarities of myself and you, which is so funny. And that's why as we were talking on our pre-call, I was so excited because I'm like, wait, we're like the same person maybe but also like we see biotech the same way and also not just like you go into the lab and do the work. There's more to do than just a pipette.
Exactly. I mean, you sharing these messages through podcasts, I'm sure 5 years back or 10 years back, you had no idea you would be doing this, right?
Never. Yeah.
But you are doing this right now because you realize that there are passions that you want to give back to the world or like just inspire a few people or let them know. And it works out, it's all about evolving all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Even 3 years ago, I didn't know I wanted to do this. But thank you so much again for being a part of this. Next up is Career Corner. Career Corner is listener submitted questions. I will ask you 2 questions and we'll give our take on. The first question is, I just graduated and I have 2 job offers, one for a small startup and one for a big company. And honestly, I have no idea which one to pick. How do I even decide?
That's a great question. First of all, I would like to say congratulations. You deserve it. And it's a good stress to have, especially when you are choosing between 2 good offers. I would say really be honest with yourself what you want to do. For me, if I'm putting back myself in that shoes, I would ask questions to myself, what I want to achieve from this job, or like, what's my next 5 years goal down the line? Do I want to be, evolving through work-wise, or do I want to just do few things? And have some other priorities that you have set up for yourself, and those questions will really help you to understand which job offer is going to be the best one for you. But if you are someone who really wants to learn and get to see the various aspects of working at early life stage, or like as an early scientist, I would recommend startup.
I agree.
Because it will let you wear multiple hats, and then you will be able to see all these like how different functions units they work in unison
Yeah.
to make something happen,
Sure.
the bigger picture, while also enjoying your work. But also make sure a few other things is what's the culture of the company, because that matters a lot. For me personally, going to a place where there is great and nice culture, it just changes how you go to work. It doesn't become a work, it becomes, I would say, a hobby.
Yeah.
Like for me, I love my team right now. I would want to be working with them forever, like hands down forever.
Yeah.
So when I go to work, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like I'm meeting colleagues,
Oh.
and I'm working while also having fun.
Yeah.
And my managers and supervisors, they are really open about just getting my works done and having things done on time.
Yeah.
They don't micromanage, so
Yep.
those things, make sure who is your manager, talk to them, ask them questions, ask them what do they think where you will be if you are performing well in 2 years. If they answer exactly where you want to be, choose that profession.
Yeah.
Otherwise, few other things that you can think of is, if you want security, maybe go to big pharma, because biotech, you don't know whether in 2 years they
Yeah.
will be there or not. Honestly, when you are early in your career, I would say take that risk. Learn as much as possible. You have that time, you have that energy, utilize it to your full potential,
Yeah.
because you don't know what you'll want to do in next 1 year.
Yeah, in the next year.
Exactly. And also, you get to learn a lot. You get to enjoy, the small wins that you'll have in data wise. Everyone will celebrate the small, even like smallest data is celebrated in biotech, small startup. So you will get that feeling. And I wish that everyone gets to enjoy that, especially early scientists. It's a huge moral boost.
Also, like in startups, like small startups, the fact that you get to package your data and present it in front
Yes,
of people,
exactly.
such a big, you truly, whether you're an RA or wherever you are, entry level or whatever, you truly feel like a scientist when you do
Exactly.
that. And it makes you so excited.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I want to go back and like
Yeah,
generate
do it
even more
more.
data and do all that stuff. And when you're like presenting to the CEO and CSO and all these things, you truly, it's a feeling that like, I hope people like get to experience.
Exactly.
Because when you're in a big company, you don't really get to do that a lot.
Yeah, there could be shadowing that could occur.
Exactly. Exactly. For the second question is, as someone navigating visas and international moves, what's the biggest myth people have about building a career in the US biotech world?
So one of the biggest myth I would say is that people think that it's all about talent. It's definitely not. It's basically the trajectory that you had followed from the past, as well as you'll follow at your new role. And you have to, make sure that you are aware of that from the very early on. And apart from that, I would also say that the few things that you have to do it on your own is you are aware of all the visa restrictions by yourself. You take actions in your own hand. Like, don't wait for uh, I would say the lawyer or the HR to come to you and be like, hey, it's time for green card sponsorship. Ask questions, talk with your supervisor and managers and be like, hey, my next 6 months plan is to do good at this work. And if you feel that I have achieved that, can we also talk about green card processing? Because that will give you a lot of security and whatnot. Apart from that, I would also say that it's about visibility. Always make sure that the work you do is being recognized. If it's not being recognized, you can always ask questions and be like, hey, I know I worked on this data. Is it, if you put my name on the slides? A lot of actually supervisors and managers, they are really good at that. But some of them, they might need that pushing.
Yeah.
So make sure that you are visible, because that visibility will give you boost. Who knows, like the VP is looking at this and be like, oh, Ananda made that data. He made that slide. That's really impressive work. You know what? We should put his name for the next promotion round. So you get that visibility. A lot of people are shy, and don't be shy about that. Be vocal about whatever expertise you have, whatever things you bring to the table, and make connections which are really genuine rather than just superficial. Because I feel like a lot of the times people are trying to make superficial relationship. That doesn't work in the long run. You have to really know the person. You have to really think it, how they think it, and be there for them. And that makes even the work life easier, because not every day you are going to have the best day. There will be days when you are having rough days, your data didn't work, and your manager, if they really know you, they could be like, hey, it's just a small hiccup. You know what? We'll repeat this again, rather than, what did you do? Can you just go step by step and tell me, like micromanaging? So you have to make sure that you build that trust and relationship with the person you are working with, mostly your managers. And lastly, I would also say learn how to manage up. It's not only about managing people who are under you, especially as an early scientist. You are reporting, right? You don't even know how to manage up. But managing up is not about making sure that you are being aggressive or commanding. It's about letting them know what you want and how you are planning for it. And does it make sense? And what will I get after I do this all? You are indirectly telling them that, you know what, I have set up my goals. Does this goal sounds good to you for my next move or next promotion? It's indirectly telling managing up. So learn those skills as well. And yeah, just enjoy your work. Yes, there are going to be restrictions. There are going to be, everyone has problems in their life. We have some people who are immigrants, they have visa restrictions, but that doesn't mean that undermine your capabilities and expertise you bring to the table. Have fun while doing whatever you work. Make those connections that are really going to be helpful, and always keep evolving and upskilling yourself.
I love that. A lot of great nuggets and wisdom. Again, thank you so much. This was awesome. Like, I had such a great time. I hope you had a great time. But I had such a great time learning about you, and truly, like, you have so much passion. I don't know, you could tell me if I'm wrong, but you look at things of like, oh, my cup is half full and not half empty. And you try to make something out of nothing. And I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that energy. It's just such a wonderful thing to have.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I feel like, yeah, there has been a reel going on in Instagram, which I would like to quote. Something like, if you are an immigrant, you don't fear anything because you left your home country, in a pack of 2 suitcases. Nothing else will fear you.
Yeah.
And I think I live by that mindset. What's the worst that can happen is I'll have to go back to my home country.
Yeah.
That could be the best thing to happen. So, yeah, but that doesn't mean that I don't have my own problems and I don't get dejected. I do get dejected, but I do see a lot of good things and opportunities out there, which I'm really grateful for. And that's why we still want to be here in the US, right? Because it's a land of opportunities. And we have worked so hard that we know that if we put our mind and soul to it, we'll make this all happen. So I try to carry that positive attitude from that part gives me that confidence to carry it.
It's so much courage to do that, and it's a different kind of courage where like not a lot of people will understand. And so yeah, thank you so much for sharing this. I had a great time talking to you.
Same.
I will put all the links in for to connect with him, get to know him, down in the description below. Again, thank you so much. For everyone tuning in, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment what was your favorite part of this episode. I have a lot. I don't know about you guys, but don't forget to comment and subscribe, and see you in the next episode.